I talked to God through a megaphone. I was a gremlin, I was a villain. That's just the path I was headed on. There's some treacherous waters I treaded on. Paid the price on that block when I bled alone. I got God in my blood, my genetics strong.
2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Thank y'all for tuning in. I am your host, Robert Varela, and it's good to see y'all here. It's gonna be a great episode today. I just wanted to, thank y'all for being here. Let me know where you're from in the chat. If you're here locally in El Paso, let me know. Drop it in with the location. Do not be afraid, man. Just one quick question for y'all. So I bought these new headphones, right? I don't know. How do y'all think they look? If they look all right, let me know what y'all think. If they look, they could be better. Or let me know. Let me know what y'all think. I do like them. They're a little bit more comfier, but they have. I think they have a good podcasty vibe. But, anyways, thank y'all again. Thank y'all for sticking around, being here today, and joining me on this live stream. Stick around until the end. I will be doing Q&A. So anyone that wants to ask me any other questions, anything like that, just go ahead and drop them in the chat by the end of towards the end of the video. I'll let y'all know when to go ahead and do that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So as y'all saw from the thumbnail on YouTube, right? It's pretty cool how the entire outlook on the resurrection is here in America, right? So first of all, I want to go ahead and, put this right away. If you think that the resurrection was a hoax, yeah, okay. Because, man, there is so much more evidence and facts and stuff that we know already from historical evidence and scholars that we just know that there is a lot more evidence than we would expect, right? So, anyways, let's go ahead and react to this video. This is from the Babylon Bee. If you don't know who the Babylon Bee is, it is a comedy channel on YouTube, and they do a bunch of political comedy stuff and things like that. And the inspiration for this video was because of the video that they put out here, and I want to go ahead and play it for y'all, see what y'all think. I found it really hilarious, so let's go ahead and play it really quick.
Are we all here? I need 100% participation for this to work.
Yeah, everyone's here. All 12. 11. 11 of us.
Y'all caught that right? 12, 11? Yeah? Okay.
What's the plan?
Well, as you know, Jesus is dead. But stick with me, okay? Stick with me. I have a plan. We are going to steal his body.
Okay, I'm tracking with you. What's next?
And then we're going to tell the whole world that he rose from the dead.
Oh, I'm in.
I love it already.
All right, classic. Then what?
And then we're all going to get brutally murdered.
Wait, come again. Could you go over that last part real quick?
Oh, what? We get murdered. What's the problem?
I like it. I like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Pete. I love me a good hoax as much as the next guy, right? What's in it for us? Do we all get riches, fame, and fortune first, right?
No, get this. You're going to be hated, persecuted, and reviled for the rest of your life.
All right, so this is very funny, but it's kind of sad in a way because there are a lot of people who actually do believe this, that the disciples did eventually they did take his body, and they did they did whatever they did with it, and then they themselves went to go tell a lie to the entire world. Which, I mean, if you really think about it, all of these disciples eventually were martyred, right? Besides John, who's the skeptical one in the video, right? But they all died. They were all martyred. They were all killed, for the belief that Jesus did rise from the dead, right? And ask yourself this question: if you personally knew something that was fake or that was untrue or was a hoax, how far would you go to actually keep yourself in that lie to the point of death? Because if it was me, right, if I knew something was fake or was a hoax, man, I'm completely telling the truth before I die. I'm gonna be like, no, you know what, it was never true, because it's not something that logically as a person you would do, right? Does that make sense? But let's continue.
Okay, guys. Okay, fellas. Look, I gotta be missing something here, right? Okay. I mean, why on earth would we do this? Can we start over?
Oh, okay. We'll start from the beginning. Everybody for John, the beloved disciple.
So, okay. We go down to Jesus' tomb.
Sounds good.
This is really easy.
Then we pay off the Roman soldiers that are guarding the tomb with their lives.
Why would they do that?
Then we somehow roll away the big stone that's in front of the tomb.
Obviously, you have to move the rock first. Yeah.
And then we steal his
Y'all know how heavy those tombs must have weighed back then? Like to be able to roll it away, must have been very, very heavy, you know?
body. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Then we tell the whole world that he rose from the dead, and we get brutally murdered for our troubles!
Epic break, bro.
Peter, you rock! Oh, okay, guys. Okay, and then what?
Then we all get killed. Come on.
When do we see ourselves become exalted and praised?
That's just it. You don't!
What is happening? Anyone hear what I'm saying? This is the most idiotic plan of all time!
Chill out, bro. I mean, do I really have to explain the joke to you? Look, it's that we lie about Jesus' resurrection. And then, we all die.
How am I supposed to chill out when our heads are getting cut off? Or worse, what is wrong with you guys? Thomas! Okay, look, back me up here. I know you can't be cool with all this. I know you gotta have some doubts. Come on.
Doubts?
So if you've read your Bible, the four Gospels, there's a bunch of inside jokes. So I think it's hilarious. So, yeah.
Oh no, they're having a dance!
Okay, you guys have officially lost it, okay? I am out of here. I'd rather be exiled to a deserted island than spend another minute with you wackos.
Have I got some good news for you?
Hey.
We want...
So there you have it, man. So that was the inspiration for this entire video right there, and it's sad but true. But you know what? It's not harmful to poke a little bit of fun at what actually people believe, and it's a lot of what a bunch of people have actually argued throughout the past, like scholars and atheist scholars and agnostic scholars. They all have all debated whether the resurrection was real, but in that they've actually really tried to find their way around it. They're like, oh no, well, it's because this happened. It's because this happened. It's because this happened. And even like in the, I don't know if y'all know this, but in the Quran, the Muslim book, they actually say that Jesus actually was never even on the cross. Like he never even died. You know what I mean? Which of course is false. Very, very, very false. And of course, all of this, what I'm about to explain, I am going to provide facts and evidence towards the resurrection, because it wasn't a hoax, right? It was not a hoax, right? So let's just get that out the way right now. It was not, okay? And I'm going to prove it with a few facts and a few things right now. We're going to look at another video that I'm going to pull up real quick. This is a gentleman named Lee Strobel. So Lee Strobel, if you don't know, was a man who was an atheist, and he himself was, doubtful about everything, right? So then he started to do his own research, right? And then he came to the conclusion that Jesus, did rise, right? And let's go ahead and pull that up real quick. So this is the man right here, Lee Strobel. There is a book. He did make a book, and he also made they also made a movie about it. You can watch it on YouTube for free. I believe it's called The Case for Christ. Okay. So if you get anything out of this podcast, just listen to this, because this could either change your life, or you could give it to someone else who is in need to, either believe, or maybe they need a little bit of a push. And these facts and statistics, because I'm someone who goes by a lot of facts and a lot of statistics. And if it isn't for that, then, we're not going to be able to get the complete picture of why we believe what we believe, and then others believe what they believe. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. So Lee Strobel, he's going to provide 4 facts, and I'm going to go ahead and provide more context for y'all guys, okay? So here we go.
He's dead.
Look at the evidence for the resurrection in 4 categories. The first one is, did Jesus die on the cross? Was he dead? Virtually every scholar on planet Earth concedes that Jesus was dead after crucifixion. We have no record of anyone anywhere ever surviving a full Roman crucifixion. Even the Journal of the American Medical Association published a peer-reviewed scientific medical study of the evidence for the death of Jesus and said clearly the weight of the evidence indicates that Jesus was dead even before the wound to his side was inflicted. Even the atheist New Testament scholar Gerd Ludemann says historically it's indisputable that Jesus was dead. So Jesus was dead. The second category of evidence is the early accounts we have for the resurrection. In other words, I used to think as an atheist that the resurrection was a legend, and that took a long time to develop in the ancient world. But what I learned is that we have preserved for us a creed of the earliest Christian church, a creed that is a...
So let's go back really quick, right? So Jesus' death, right? If you were in the cross, Roman crucifixion, there is no way, as he said, pointed out right here, there is no record of anyone actually even being able to survive something like that. And to the point where I've even heard the saying that crucifixion was one of the most painful deaths that someone could get during those times, which is just like how bad can it be for the Romans to be able to do that, to the point where, people make up stories. They're like, oh, it's not possible, like he wasn't, he was alive. No, it's just not physically possible for him to be able to survive that, so he was dead. Okay, so let's continue. Skip it a little bit forward.
Second category of evidence is the early accounts we have for the resurrection. In other words, I used to think as an atheist that the resurrection was a legend, and that took a long time to develop in the ancient world. But what I learned is that we have preserved for us a creed of the earliest Christian church, a creed that is an eyewitness-based report of the resurrection of Jesus. Now, this creed has been dated back by scholars to within months of the death of Jesus. Within months. That is historical gold. So we've got a...
So did y'all catch that? That's historical gold, right? Because in I guess in being able to date the dates of when Jesus did resurrect, to have that amount of early evidence is beyond it. Because when you look at a bunch of other sources from a bunch of different historical figures, a lot of them don't date to that close. Like, for example, there's Alexander the Great, right? Alexander the Great was someone who is, considered one of the greatest, generals, leaders, whatever, right? But a lot of his stuff that we have that we believe is factually true was actually written years after he passed away. Years after he had passed away. It's probably centuries, I believe, yeah, after he had passed away. So it just goes to show you, what do you trust more? People that have earlier accounts, or people that have it later, much, much later, So just keep that in mind.
Flash from ancient history on the resurrection. Third category of evidence is the empty tomb. And the best evidence for that is even the opponents of Jesus implicitly admitted the tomb was empty. Because when the disciples began proclaiming that Jesus had risen, what the opponents said was, the disciples stole the body. Now they're conceding the tomb's empty.
The disciples stole the body. It's, when you look at that, right? It's like, okay, it's, did they not, right? But they knew that the tomb was empty, though. But they just pointed the finger at why it was, So, keep going.
They're just trying to explain how it got empty. So everybody's conceding the tomb was empty. How did it get empty is really the issue, and that goes to the fourth category of evidence, which is eyewitnesses. For most of what we know about ancient history, it comes from one or maybe two sources of information. And yet, for the conviction of the disciples that they encountered the resurrected Jesus, we have no fewer than 9 ancient sources, inside and out.
No fewer than 9 ancient sources. Now think about that. That right there has to be the nail in the coffin, right? Because there is just so much that we want to believe or not believe, yet all the facts and all the evidence is there. you know, and whether you decide to believe or you decide not to believe, it's completely up to you, right? And one of the things I'll tell people, right, who I guess are non-believers or are skeptical about all of this is do your own research. Do your own research, because you can take my word for it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, when you do your own research and you actually, dig in like this gentleman did, dig into the get down to the nitty-gritty, then you're actually gonna be able to see and even show progression in all of the facts and the evidence within yourself. And when you do that within yourself, you can help yourself, and hopefully, God willing, you come over to the other side, and whether you come to believe or not, you still can't deny that these facts are true. These facts are true. Okay? They have so much evidence. Like I heard the saying, right, that the Bible, right, the New Testament, excuse me, we have historical records of the Bible that could stack up to like a mile high, right? Historical evidence of the Bible that stacks up a mile high. That's a lot, right? Well, for context, Aristotle, right? Everybody knows Aristotle. We have maybe like 4 feet of actual written documents of him. Isn't that interesting? Yet, for the New Testament, we can go up a mile high. Isn't that interesting? Like, the fact that we have very little evidence over there, and yet Aristotle is, he's 100% true. There's no denying the fact, nothing. But when it comes to the Bible, or when it comes to the New Testament specifically, they say, oh, it really can't, it can't be true, or, I'm skeptical about all of this, Yet when they talk about, other key figures, they don't budge an eye. Why that is, I don't know. There is so many things that a lot of people could compare themselves to all the evidence, and yet even though you give them everything, right, you still can't believe it, or you still don't prove it. Like I saw this one clip the other day where there was this gentleman, I forget his name, and he was asked a question. He was a New Testament scholar, and he was asked a question by an atheist, and he told him, or no, he asked the question to the atheist, and he told him, if God and Jesus came down right now and they showed themselves to you, would you still believe? Or would you believe? Would you? And you would think, well, yeah, right, because it's all true. But even he himself said, no, I don't think so. He said, why? Because I'm skeptical, or because I just don't agree with some things. And that's where he said, you're right. But that's where free will comes in, right? Because God doesn't force himself upon you. He doesn't. Because if he did, then that means there's no free will. And because God did force himself upon everyone, then guess what? We would all be Christians, you know what I mean? But we're not, because God is a just God and a loving God and a merciful God. So he doesn't actually force himself upon you. And therefore, that's why even though you provide the facts and the evidence to a bunch of people, no matter what it is, they're still not going to believe at the end, It's like one of the things I said, even when you're playing basketball, right? Sometimes you're going to miss those shots, man. You're never going to be perfect, You're never going to be perfect. And that's how we have to go about it with people, right? No matter how many times you talk to someone or you try to convert them or help them, sometimes you're going to shoot and miss. You're going to hit and miss, man. And we have to come to that conclusion, because at the end of the day, we can't move them, we can only plant the seed or help them to get the seed planted, and then hopefully it grows so they can open their eyes. But if it's not for that, then there's nothing else we can do. There's nothing else we can do. I wish I could come up here and tell everyone, hey, if you did this, if you did that, bro, you're saved, man. but that's not the point. The point is to believe, right? So let's go and finish the video, guys.
The New Testament, confirming and corroborating the conviction of the disciples that they encountered the risen Christ. That is an avalanche of historical data. So you put all that together and you have a really good case for Easter.
So there you go. A good case for Easter, right? So anywho, that's my little spew right there of all of this. I hope y'all got some sort of understanding, right? Because it is important. And, whether you have your family or friends, just make sure, you're able to provide something to them, just like a YouTube video or a movie. And actually, let me pull this up real quick, guys. Let me show y'all real quick. So if you do have, have someone that you would want to talk to, or you want to give them something else besides, just the Bible, right? There is this movie called The Case for Christ, and it is based off the same gentleman that you saw in the video right now, Lee Strobel, and how he came to faith because he did his own research eventually. So look at it, watch the movie. I think it is for free on YouTube, I think. And, buy his book too. He has a book too that he wrote. So if you're ever in the need, I 100% believe that this can be a great resource for anyone that wants it to help either themselves or help someone else. Okay. So anyways, so yeah, that's my, that's the end of that, man. That's what I wanted to talk to y'all about. If the resurrection was a hoax, I hope that answered any questions that y'all might have, or hope it gave you a different perspective. If you are skeptical about your faith, maybe you have believed, maybe you haven't believed, maybe you're still struggling in a way, but at least you have these resources available to you. And don't take my word for it. Don't come up here and just look at this live stream and be like, oh, okay, it's how it has to be true, right? No, go ahead and do your own research, man. Go do your own research, because that's one of the things that you have to do in anything, right? Whether it's politics, whether it's, sports, whether it's, your work, you have to do your own research. You have to research. So I encourage all of you to research whatever you need in terms of your faith, or whatever, if evidence or anything like that pops up, so you can better your walk and help others to better their walk. And if you don't believe, please, go ahead, look at all this facts and evidence. Don't take my word for it. Go do your own research, come to the conclusion, and I believe that you would find the same conclusion that I came to. Okay? So, anyways, that's enough for that. So, let's go ahead and open up the chat, man. Go ahead and ask me any questions, man. Ask me anything and everything. I'm an open book. Whatever y'all want to ask me, I am not scared. So y'all go ahead and give it to me. Whatever y'all want me to say. Whatever y'all want me to say. Give it to me, chat. Come on. Ask me something. Ask me something. Open book, guys. Open book. Give me some Q&A. Give me some Q&A. Give me some good stuff. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions, guys? Alrighty, we have our first question. Let's go and pull it up. Darnell, my brother. My brother. So, do you aspire to be a leader in church or pastor? Very, very, very good question, man. I've actually, it's funny you say that because I actually do get this. I've gotten this a little bit, not a lot, not like, oh, everybody's always asking me. No, no, no. I have gotten this question a few times, to to wonder if if I would ever consider it. Um, and I guess the answer to that would be, um, I'm not gonna say, it's a no, and I'm not gonna say it's a yes, because I don't know if I don't know if I aspire right now in my current season to be a a pastor, a leader in church. Yeah, for sure. To have influence and impact on a bunch of young adults and kids of my age, for sure. I would 100% want to be able to do that. Even bigger and broader one day. A pastor, I don't think so. Just because I feel like today in our current society with all these things that happen to a bunch of celebrity pastors, a lot of things a lot of scandals and stuff that just, I guess, kind of goes back and forth with a bunch of the things that reputation wise, and just things that I don't know, I wouldn't personally, I guess, want to get into, not because I'm scared or anything, or I just, for me, I don't know if I would want that, right? And like, especially in my current season, I don't see myself in a position like that. um could I eventually? Yeah, sure, why not? Whatever God wills it to do, that's what I'll listen to do, and we move on from there, right? But currently, my current season, a leader in church, 100%. A pastor, probably not right now. So, Louis, what's up, brother? Let's see. What's your favorite Bible verse? Oof. So I actually went over on this in the last podcast. I'll pull it up anyways, so I can show you, brother. Here we go. Let me give me 1 second, guys. All right, here we go. So this verse comes out of Joshua, Joshua 1:9, right? So it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." So that's my favorite Bible verse. You can see as to why, right? Because I believe that in every walk of faith, whatever step we take, God is going to be there with us. And even in me doing this podcast, right, I was very, very I wouldn't say discouraged, but I was very I was doubting myself for a little bit, just because I didn't really have any knowledge of doing something like this until eventually I was able to. And thank God for it, because I was able to push myself and get myself uncomfortable and get me out of my comfort zone, for sure. And out of this verse, be strong and courageous, for sure, at every walk in your life and every step of your life. Wherever you go, believe that God's going to be there, and stay strong in any circumstance and any obstacle that comes your way. So yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you for your question. So let's go ahead and down here. So, my sister, what's up, sis? How can someone that has anxiety or claustrophobic, or I'm assuming you meant claustrophobic, with being around people, start their walk with Christ, as in being around godly community? Oh yeah, for sure, man. Look, one of the things is that we have to understand is, when we come to church and when we go to a community, right? No one's perfect. No matter who you think might be the most perfect person in the room, I'm here to tell you right now, they're far from it. And because they're far from it, they are not in a place to, I guess, judge people, judge people in a way, with whatever you have, anxiety or claustrophobic, and I think one of the main things is how can you be around someone is you have to stay very consistent being in godly community, because I believe that in that eventually, your anxiety and your, being claustrophobic, eventually I wouldn't say it's going to be completely gone, but in a way it'll wither away and it'll slowly start to make you feel less anxious, make you feel less anxious, and in Matthew 5, the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus does say, don't be anxious about your life, and with that in community, you have to keep going and make yourself uncomfortable so you can become comfortable, if that makes sense, because if you're that way now, you have anxiety and you're claustrophobic, right? And you're not in a godly community, well then guess what? It's probably going to stay the same for a long time. Is it going to change? Maybe, but who knows much longer down the road? I mean, I think it'd be more important for you to get yourself in that situation. That way you get yourself out of it faster, So, anywho, all right. Thank you for your question, sis. All right. Let's see. Oh, another question from my sis. What's up? Who's your favorite great male influencer to show to someone around late 20s? Oh, man. Male influencer. That's a great question. Male influencer to show around late 20s. Well, man, this is actually a tough one. I really have to think about this one. Late 20s, huh? Male influencer, late 20s. Let me get back to this. Because I actually have to really think about that one. Excuse me. I'll be right back. I'll come back to your question, sis. I'm sorry. Super introvert. I can't be in big crowds. I always walk out. Yeah, man. It's I get it. In a way you are introverted, but you know what? You have to get in that comfort zone because, depending on the crowd, obviously, like I'm not saying like all crowds are good, right? Because you can be in a big crowd at the wrong place and it can be disastrous and it can actually probably make your anxiety even worse, But I think in like a church setting, it's different just because, just speaking from my experience, right? A church setting is supposed to be a safe place, a vulnerable place where you can go, you can cry, you can laugh, you can have the worst day of your life and yet still go, And even though it can be a big crowd, depending on, if you go to a conference, if you go to a church, whatever it is, it's either going to be very good for you or very, very, very shy or very anxious for you. And you need to get out of it. And if it's in a good godly community, I don't think there should be no reason for you to be introverted, And like I said, if it's a big crowd at a church, it's a safe place. At least the church that I go to, right? And shout out Abundant Living Faith Center in El Paso. And if you stay that way, it's just gonna be, the same, So thank you for saying that, man. I get it. I wasn't always extroverted person that you see on camera right now, and it's been a long journey. Let's just put it that way. But you know what? We keep moving forward. All right. So let me go ahead and go back to the question. Who is your great male influencer to show to someone around late 20s? So when we're talking about influencers, right? There's so many out there. that I could name off, right? And I guess one in particular that I'm always listening to, right? Because he's very involved in culture and very, very up to date with things. And, the man has a lot of wisdom, and he has um, a bunch of stories to tell and a bunch of good value to give and wisdom to give to someone, to someone around late 20s. And so the person that I was going to say is, if y'all don't know who he is, his name is Ruslan. Ruslan KD. You can look him up on YouTube right now. He's actually one of the guys that inspired me to do this. And, I enjoy hearing that man talk. And he has a story. He has a crazy story of how he grew up in, back in those days in the Soviet Union, because he grew up in Baku, I believe. Yes. So for me, someone to show around in their late 20s, I guess it would be someone that's very seasoned and much, much older, which Ruslan is. I believe he's 38, I believe. And to someone around late 20s, I would say to him for sure. And especially because someone in their late 20s, right? I don't know if a lot of people want to hear, especially in their late 20s, they want to hear a lot of a lot of TD takes, oomph, I don't know if they want to hear all that, And I think with a podcast, which Ruslan does a podcast, someone would be more willing to listen, especially someone around their late 20s. I think that's just my opinion, though. Take it or leave it, But that's just my opinion. Ruslan, and I was gonna name one more person. This one's totally out of the Christian world, or not even the Christian world, right? But it's just more, I guess, secular. Is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson. If y'all know who Jordan Peterson is, go pull it up on YouTube, and you'll see why I mean what I say. He's like a modern day intellect. He is one of the great minds of our generation, or not our generation, but of the past generation. And he just is, man, like the way he talks, the way he communicates is next level. And I guess the last one, this one's totally, just throwing it out there, is his name is Tyson Fury. If y'all know who Tyson Fury is, he's a boxer who was in mental health, struggling a lot for a long time, and you get the gist of it. He had a lot of issues, but he came because of his faith. He got even better now, and thank God for it, right? So, anywho, any more of the questions, chat? And go ahead and tell me any more of the questions before we end this stream. Xiomara. ¿Qué pasó? My good friend. I'm going through a very difficult time right now. Can you tell me any God song that can help me relax and will make me feel better? Yeah. Let me pull it up here just so you can just write it down. Give me 1 second. So if you don't know the song Ocean Xiomara, I definitely would tell you to check it out. Simply because I actually this is a very peaceful song, and if you're at home, it's late at night, you're kind of down, you kind of need a little bit of that emotional support, and it's a good song to sing to for sure. That one, and excuse me, guys, sorry. And then the next one that's really helped me is I Surrender. It's also by Hillsong. and this one goes on for 10 minutes, and I enjoy every second of it. And it'll help you to, in a way, relax, but it'll help you to, in a way, let out all your tears, and because it's tough when you're going through something and you just kind of want to let out and cry. So this is the song. But before the last one, I wanted to show you is this one right here. This has been one of my favorite songs lately. It's called No Longer Bound. No Longer Bound by Frank Forrest and Hovey. It's an amazing song. So if you want to feel better, Shio, this is a song for you. I really like it, and I play it every morning, and I enjoy hearing the song. So yeah, thank you for your question, Shio. Appreciate it. Those are great, man. Yeah. Appreciate you, bro. Even When It Hurts by Hillsong is also a great song. Yeah. Great song too. Even When It Hurts by Sorry. Yep. Alrighty. Anyone else? Any final questions before we get out of here? Any other questions? Y'all let me know. If not, so we can end this live stream. And guys, I have been asked the question, is it because on live stream does it get uploaded, does it get uploaded to my YouTube channel once it stops airing? And the answer is yes. So when the episodes on the live stream they finish, right? When they finish eventually, or not even eventually, right then and there, they're automatically uploaded to YouTube. So if you want to rewatch the stream, or if you want to actually, I don't know, get a certain clip or something you want to watch from my channel, it's going to be there already. So you don't even have to think about it or ask me. Just go ahead and go to my channel, the GodFearing Podcast, and it'll be right then and there. Okay. And I am working on the quality, guys. So this was my second one, and we will be airing again sometime this week. I'm not sure what day just yet, but just know that I will be airing hopefully sometime this week. So any other questions before we leave? Any other questions? Anyone? I'm going to give it a minute. And guys, go ahead and make sure you like the video, por favor. It means a lot, and it helps a lot with my YouTube channel if you go ahead and like the video. So please go ahead and do that for sure. Anyone else? Last question? No? All right. Well, it looks like nobody else has any other questions. Well then, thank you everybody for tuning in. And I appreciate y'all being here on the live stream. And if you're here on the recorded one, even better. Thank you for even coming on the recording. That means a lot to me. And, I'm willing to take it as far as it can go. And I can't wait to see where eventually this all ends up. So, any more guys before we get out of here? If there's nothing else. All right. Alrighty. Well, since it looks like there's no more questions, thank you all for tuning in to episode number 2 of the God-Fearing Podcast. I am the host, Robert Varela, and thank you all for joining my live stream. And if you're on the recorded one, right, you're in the recorded version, thank you for tuning in as well. And I can't wait to see the next episode. I have a pretty cool plan for that. But until then, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.